You're listening to the Grind Line Podcast.
What's up, and welcome to another episode of the Grind Line Podcast. I'm your host, Greg. You're listening to episode 347. I am here tonight with Ryan and Tyler. We have a final roster. We have exciting news. A lot of stuff happened today. How are you guys doing?
I'm great after today. After that, actually, it was 3-something when the Wings actually tweeted out their roster for the week, if you will.
Yeah, they waited for waiver claims and stuff to be done.
Yep, 2 p.m. had to hit. If you were under a rock, obviously, we yesterday received the news that Gus and Hall were waived, and much celebrations took place on Red Wings X and social media platforms across the realm. So it's been, to answer your question, I'm pretty stoked. Not going to lie.
I'm doing good. Glad to be right on the precipice of hockey season, which is tomorrow. I know, big word for me, but...
2 in a row, 2 recordings in a row, you use that word?
And 3 syllables? That's a shocker, buddy.
That is a shocker. I'm getting smarter. Doing good, man. Hockey's just around the corner. Not even just around the corner, less than 24 hours away. The Blackhawks and the Panthers kick off the NHL season, and looking forward to that. There's been a lot going on sports-wise. It's a great time of year. And we obviously have a lot of Red Wing news to talk about. 3 things in particular, if you catch my drift. But yeah.
Crazy, man. Why use much word when few word do trick, Tyler? That's what we're going for today. But again, we're going to go right off the top. If you're not watching us on YouTube, we will be doing some video coverage as well. Thanks to Hasky Highlights over on YouTube. If you're not following him on X, you may do that. Also go sub to him over on Twitter. He will be on YouTube. Sorry. He will be providing video clips to us all season that we are going to use on social and on our video feed. We'll be talking about some of the play. You'll be able to see it while we talk about it. So you'll see less of our face and more of hockey. So it's like a win-win situation for everyone involved.
Totally.
Also, off the jump, if you guys are looking for t-shirts for the season, go visit VintageDetroitCollection.com, click the Keep It Local tab, click on the Grindline Podcast, and our stuff is there. And you can see my Bingo Bango shirt that I'm wearing right now. So, 3 big news. Want to do 3 big pieces of news, or do we want to first do news wrap-up? Let's do news wrap-up first. Ryan alluded to it. Justin Holl and Erik Gustafsson put on waivers. Justin Holl passed through, has been assigned to the Grand Rapids Griffins, so he is going to the AHL. Erik Gustafsson passed through waivers. He is staying with the team. They can do that. I think it's 30 days. They have 30 days to move him without any kind of penalties before he has to pass through waivers again.
Much like Hull was last year, right?
Yeah.
We saw him go down at when rosters had to be set. He then made his NHL debut in Game 2 and really stuck throughout the lineup from that point on. And he had a few up and downs. I remember posting it earlier, but Detroit has that full flexibility now without accruing penalty, if you will, with Gustafsson to have that. If they need to bring him into the onto the roster, they can. I don't know how if they had to do anything corresponding move wise, but that's where it gets kind of tricky. But what's nice with the changes in terms of paper moves, he doesn't have to fall into that like the AHL guy does. Like for who was it, Rafferty last year?
Highway hero Brogan Rafferty.
Yeah, was the quote unquote paper move last year for Detroit over and over again, even though he never actually ended up back in. Well, I shouldn't say never. Even though he was rarely actually in Grand Rapids, now he would have to go there, play, and then return. So flexibility keeps Detroit as of this point in time with 8 defensemen going into the season. But that's also not surprising based on comments we've seen from McClellan.
Yeah, it's not surprising. I feel like Todd McClellan has a little bit more of his hands on the roster than Derek Lalonde did. I think Derek Lalonde was more of a player's coach, but I think he wanted the hands off, let the management do what they're going to do with the roster. And I feel like he wasn't one to advocate for the young guys. I feel like it was more of high goes the veteran, kind of similar to what we've seen in the past here in Detroit. So it's beautiful that we have a situation that we're going to talk about at some point here, but getting rid of Hall is huge. I mean, you can't even really say it more perfect than that. I mean, it's huge. And, you have the flexibility where if somebody gets hurt and you need a body, can come up and play. I'd rather not see him again. I don't know about you guys, but if it's called depth.
Yeah, we keep the depth. That was the thing. We didn't lose anyone in the process. Now, the other part of this, though, is that James Van Riemsdyk is apparently on the IR. We knew he had just come back. He had not played a preseason game. He's getting his legs under him. They asked Todd this morning. He just started taking contact apparently today. So initially Todd said 7 to 10 days, but Puckpedia has him listed on injured reserve. So I don't know if something went with his physical, if there's something nagging there, or just for posterity, they have to put him on injured until he's actually ready to play.
It could be that because you think about the time that he missed, and
medical has to clear you. Their doctors have to say you have practiced enough and you're in shape, you're ready to go.
I mean, that makes sense. But I mean, you think of how the time that he has missed, and obviously we hope very much so that everything's okay back home. And got to assume in a way that's weighing heavy on him as well as trying to, crack this roster at this point. Not saying that he's not going to. I think he's one of the few guaranteed spots on this team right now. But it definitely allowed for the situation to come about with him being moved to IR in this scenario to have that 23-man set roster. He impacts the cap, but it let you not have to worry about too much in regards to the two guys that you did waive in Hall and Gustafsson. So you're still in a good spot, and you can easily bring him back in. It gives you flexibility in the forward group when he's healthy. But we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, the big thing that I think I want to go back to Tyler's point about McClellan, and we talked about it a little bit, I think, last week, is I think there's a lot of buy-in. It sounds like there's a lot more understanding between McClellan and Yzerman, a lot more trust there because Yzerman's worked with him before. He's an established coach. And it seems like McClellan is also really listening to his team. You heard it from the beginning from Dylan Larkin, and even today from Dylan Larkin, that the guys came in, they bring energy to the room. Larkin was asked about that. He's like, yeah, they bring a different energy to the room. They were quickly embraced by the team, and they elevate the people around them. They bring up the kind of spirit of the team, and that's important. That's important to Todd too. Todd said the same thing. They were quickly embraced. They quickly learned and caught on and did what they needed to do to get these spots. Now, did he say they're going to stick? He's like, they've got to work to stick. They have to work every day to keep that spot that they are in, more so than a vet generally has to. They have a little less runway because they can go up and down because they are waiver exempt. So I think we'll start with the 13 forwards who are officially on the roster. Dylan Larkin, Lucas Raymond, Alex DeBrincat, Andrew Kopp, JT Compher, Michael Rasmussen, Patrick Kane, Mason Appleton, Jonathan Berggren, Elmer Soderblom, Michael Brandsegg-Nygard, Marco Kasper, and Emmitt Finnie. Your defense is Moritz Seider, Ben Sherratt, Eric Gustafsson, Albert Johansson, Travis Hamonic, Axel-Sandin Pellikka, Simon Edvinsson, and Jacob Bernard Docker. And your goaltenders are John Gibson and Cam Talbot. Right off the bat, the three kids made it. We can all eat our words. We said there was probably a near 0% chance that ASP would make it. The dude's growth from game one of the preseason to now, and Todd even said it himself, leaps and bounds. It's been so awesome to watch.
This is where you need Eric Finnie to say, and there are your 2025-2026 Detroit Red Wings. Yeah, it's beautiful. It's the kids are all right. The youth movement is in full force, adding to what we already have in the Dylan Larkins and the Raymonds and lesser so the Patrick Kanes and the Alex DeBrincats. It's starting to come together, I feel like. Will it work? We don't know. But it's starting to come together. You can start to see it take shape and what the roster is going to look like. Obviously, there's still some turnover that's going to happen after this season. But as far as going into this season, this is probably about as good as I've felt about a roster as possible. And I'll tell you one thing right now. If this all works out, Steve Yzerman looks like a genius by not going out in free agency and spending absurd amounts of money on mid-free agents.
Well, on paper, sure.
On paper.
We need to obviously see them now in this situation. Now,
Well,
you
that's
could
why I
argue
said if it works out.
if you take any weight in a preseason game, you look at that game, 2 games back against Toronto in Toronto. They were playing a majority NHL level roster. Now, were they taking it seriously? I don't know. We talked about that last week. But at the same time, they didn't look out of place. The team came out, they had some jump in their step, and they took care of business. Is that what we can expect? I hope so. I hope that we're going to get solid goaltending. Talbot looked great. Gibson did not look good in the preseason finale. And you could tell that there's maybe things that he was working on in that game that just weren't going well. And he was leaky 5-hole and really anything in tight to the body. And it was just kind of a weird night for how he had been up to this point. But back on the rookies, you look what ASP's been doing. He's been in practice in these games, quarterbacking the second power play unit. He's been moved around. He's been seeing time with Simon Edvinsson. So he's shifting into your top 4 a little bit there and not looking entirely out of place. Now, for the speed of the game, there's going to be things that happen, but we were seeing that across the board on both sides with defense getting stuck because of a quick neutral zone turnover and you're going back the other way. Happens all the time in Shell, happens all the time in real life. Like there's things that are unavoidable, but if you're going to nitpick it, that's not, I think, where we can really go with ASP at that point. But then you look at the other two, Finnie out there on the top line still doing great. He's not looking out of place with Larkin and Raymond. I think the speed plays a huge factor into that and the fact that he can think the game very quickly and impact those other two appropriately. But what I've really liked, to be honest with you, is the impact that MBN has been having, not only on the second power play unit, because my God, if we're going to have ASP setting MBN up, much like Alex DeBrincat, I think we're going to be okay on the power play, but I think we're especially going to be okay on that third line if Top and Comfer are his partners. Very similar style player in which they're going to go get the puck. MBN's not afraid to go get the puck, Brandsegg-Nygard. But if they can end up setting him up, really this couldn't have played out much better for those 3 rookies in the situations that they're about to fall into if they're in the lineup come Thursday.
And MBN and ASP are quickly becoming best friends. It's very fun to watch.
Their cake was sushi.
All I'll say is you have a guy that was drafted 201st overall in 2023 who is your first line left winger. Pretty good, man. I mean, obviously it has to work out. Like we don't know if it's going to work out. That's why they play the games. But I said this before and I'll say it again. To accelerate a rebuild, you have to hit on guys that you didn't expect were going to be good. We don't know what's going to happen with Emmitt Finnie. We don't know if he's going to be an AHL or for his career. We don't know that. However, there's a possibility that he is a fucking guy that loves to go into the corners, and obviously he does, but a guy that loves to go into the corners, and hey, maybe he has a scoring touch that we haven't seen a lot yet. Maybe he is a 30-goal scorer. Dude, there are guys in this league that you wouldn't even believe score 30 goals, and they do now. Did we find a guy like that? We'll find out. Is Brandsegg-Nygard maybe the next emerging star? We don't know.
I'll tell you right now, they're going to learn very quickly what it's like to be playing a tough NHL schedule because we got Habs, Leafs. I'll just name the teams in the month of October alone. Montreal, Toronto, Florida. Yes, they're a bit banged up, but they're still back-to-back champs. Tampa, Edmonton, Buffalo, Isles, Blues. And then you get the Kings and Ducks on a West Coast trip to finish it up. That is a brutal first month. And we're going to find out very quickly what these kids have in terms of withstanding that type of play, because there's going to be some heavy checking games that they're going to be thrown right into. And what I liked about that thought, though, you saw ASP taking some pretty big hits, I feel like, in that last Toronto game, but he did it to make a play. But what I liked the most and what we seem to kind of worry about a lot is he knew how to take the hit. The way he positioned himself along the boards, could able to absorb it, while making a play and seeing what's going on around him. The way his head's up and he can read things happening, it's awesome. Again, with that schedule, they're going to be physical, they're going to be fast, and there's going to be a lot of skill out there. And that it's going to be fun. It's going to be stressful, but fun.
Well, the other thing I'll say too is I feel like a lot of people always talk about how the NHL has gotten softer. Dude, I was watching.
You watch that Battle of Florida these last two games? Shit show.
That you watch the Amazon series. Like this, maybe this game has changed a lot, and it has. But make no mistake, it has changed a lot. But it is still a tough game, and these kids are going to be in for it. And hey, they might be up for it. But again, we don't know. We'll find out. And to your point, though, the schedule it's brutal the first month.
Yeah, if we're looking back to the Finnie point, and we need to hit on some people. I again look at Brandon Hagel. Brandon Hagel was drafted by Buffalo round 6, number 159 in 2016. Brandon Hagel last season for the Tampa Bay Lightning in 82 games played had 35 goals and 55 assists for 90 points. Season before that, he had 75 points. Season before that, he had 64. It took him a while to stick, to get the playing time and to get that opportunity and to figure it out, but he did figure it out. That's what you need to do, is hit on someone like that to be able to kind of just elevate your team without getting lottery luck, without having the number 1 overall pick. You've got to try to, it's like throwing, like they say, it's like throwing darts. At some point, that dart's going to hit, and maybe it has with someone like Emmitt Finnie. We're going to take a break. Ryan, do you need to say something?
Well, no, I was just going to say to that point, and you're seeing a lot less excitement in free agency and with contracts. Like we saw McDavid re-sign today for 2 years with the exact same cap hit, which is great for Edmonton. But they're now in a 3-year no bullshit window of, hey, I expect a Stanley Cup with this team. I'm now giving you the flexibility to go make it happen. But with this cap going up, yes, it does give some teams flexibility to go get something flashy and pretty. But at the same time, we're still seeing a lot of guys stay where they're at because the teams can afford it a little bit easier now. And to that point, it makes getting a guy like a Finnie, hopefully it works out great in Detroit's favor, like you mentioned, with a Brandon Hagel type player. And now you've got someone that you can lean into long term, or it turns into a great trade bait. Who knows?
Yep, so we're going to take a quick break. Word from our sponsors. We'll be right back. We are going to go through the lines of practice, basically what it looks like lines might be for game 1, and kind of say what these rookies bring to the line that they're on. So give us just a quick minute. Word from our sponsor. We'll be right back. Game on. Week 1 starts now, and every touchdown brings you closer to a payout with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. This isn't just football, it's first touchdown fireworks, anytime TD rushes, and live bets that ride every momentum shift. At DraftKings, every play is your next shot to win. Just like you can pick the Lions to win the Super Bowl and cross your fingers and hope that it happens. New customers, this one's for you. Bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets instantly. Plus grab over $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Your season starts now. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code THPN. That's code THPN to get $300 in bonus bets instantly when you place your first bet of $5 or more. Plus $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV in partnership with DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, fees may apply in Illinois. 21 and over. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. See sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos. NFL Sunday Ticket offer for new subscribers only and auto renews until canceled. Digital games and commercial use excluded. Restrictions apply. Additional NFL Sunday Ticket terms at youtube.com/go/NFL Sunday Ticket/terms. Limited time offer.
During our quick break, I just want to tell everyone about something that's totally changed my mornings. Strong Coffee Company. If you're like me, you love your coffee, but you also want it to actually do something for you. This is the upgrade you've been looking for. Strong Coffee isn't your average cup of joe. It's an all-in-one instant blend made for people who care about their health and performance. You're getting 15 grams of grass-fed protein, 5 grams of MCTs for long-lasting energy, and adaptogens like ashwagandha and L-theanine to help you stay calm, focused, and productive without the jitters or crash. The black blend is bold and smooth, made from organic fair trade Arabica beans, and their lattes, they've got collagen, hyaluronic acid, healthy fats, the works. It tastes amazing and helps you feel sharper, sleep better, and just show up as your best self every day. And on top of all that, they're eco-friendly too, so you can feel good about what you're putting in your body and how it's made. Check them out at strongcoffeecompany.com and use our code GRINDLINE. That's strongcoffeecompany.com, promo code GRINDLINE at checkout for 20% off. That's GRINDLINE for 20% off your order. Give it a shot. I think you're going to love it. And we're back. And like I said, we're going to go over the first lines, drills today, what it looks like the lineup is going to be, and then kind of what each of the kids brings to the line that they're on. So Max Boltman tweeted this morning, first line in drills, Finnie, Larkin, Raymond, Kane, Casper, DeBrincat, Kopp, Comfer, MBN, Soderblom, Rasmussen, Appleton with JVR and Berggren as the extras. Your defensive pairings of Sherratt, Sider, Edvinson, ASP, Johansson, Hamonic, and JBD. But I think later on, JBD slotted in next to Albert Johansson. So, off the bat, real exciting. I would love second pair ASP with Simon Edvinson. That gives you the offense and the grit on the second pair. Would I love to see Sherratt move down? Absolutely, but it is what it is at this point. I really want Bernard Docker to make the lineup over Hamonic. Johansson has shown a lot through preseason, a lot of grit, a lot of muscle. He got bigger and he's using his body more. And I think Bernard Docker has some offense that he could lean into. So that could also be a really good pairing there. The forward lineup really, it is what kind of we thought it was going to be. I'm surprised to see Comfer in the center and not Kopp. But that fourth line of Soderblom, Rasmussen, Appleton is going to be a brutal line for the people that play against it, hopefully. Because hopefully Soderblom uses his size more.
I like really all four of those lines. And you can slot JVR in just about anywhere. Obviously, Cat, DeBrincat, Kane, that's not changing. That's the one line I think is officially locked in stone.
There's your permanent line.
Yeah. But with where things stand, I mean, we already hit pretty good on Finnie. We've hit that, I think, several times over the last week. But like with Kopp, Comfer, and MBN, what I was saying a little bit ago, those are big boys. And they're going to be hard to play against. But we've seen flashes. I think Kopp, this has been probably the best preseason I've seen out of him. He has skated hard. You can tell that there's a renewed sense of urgency there, it seems like. And I would credit a lot of that to McClellan, outside of the fact that he is coming back from a pretty severe injury. But you throw MBN on there. I mean, we saw Comfort driving the net hard and had a beautiful backhander across the crease to MBN for the goal in that the final preseason game. I feel like a guy like Brandsegg-Nygard is going to, spice things up for those two a little bit and give them a play with a bit more energy. So that's going to be a lot of fun, in my opinion. And then that fourth line, that's where I think things get interesting, because when JVR returns, I feel like maybe Soderblom's the odd man out of this scenario. And between him and Burgers, you got to wonder if those two are some sort of trade chips. And are they looking to actively move them? Because I don't think either of them make it through waivers. So with a fully healthy group, are they expendable? But that's going to be a very solid checking line with a little bit of skill mixed into it. Appleton's kind of a toss-up. If I don't really expect much from him scoring-wise. But if you get Soderblom going, and Raz especially, that could be very effective, and I love it. But defensively, with Ed and ASP, we saw that rotation, as I kind of mentioned a little bit ago, in the last preseason game. If you've got flexibility between your second pair and third pair, I think that's your best case scenario. And you kind of go to, especially if you're home, you can go to play the matchups, right? So if you've got ASP with Ed, you're going for some speed and some scoring. Yeah, Johansson and Hamonic or JBD. I like your point about JBD over Hamonic. Hamonic reminds me too much of Justin Hall. Maybe just not as slow, but they're, to me, they're the same player, which was weird. But it's nice to feel a bit more excited about where things sit with this spice of youth added in. So we'll see. Tyler.
Yeah, it's nice not to see Gustafson there. It's nice not to see Hall there. We still have to deal with Sherratt, but Tighter can mask what Sherratt's deficiencies for the most part, kind of like Lidstrom did for Ian White back in those days, or Cronwell did for Eriksson back in those days. But I love the decor. I mean, obviously, we'll see what happens in terms of what it looks like on the ice, and how it's going to be with the rookies and stuff like that. But Johansson with his second year in the league, it's his second, right? Not third.
It's his second full year.
Second full. Okay, so that's huge. You got Edvinsson in his third year, basically second full year in the league. ASP in his first. I just like it. Looks a lot more like a decor that has a lot more potential than we've seen previously with the Gustafsons and the Halls and the Sherratts. Hamonic, I kind of agree with you there. I think it's the same thing as Hall, maybe a little bit better, not by much. And then the forward group, I mean, we don't know what we're going to see from Finnie other than he's going to hunt pucks. He's going to get in on the forecheck. We've already kind of talked about that. Larkin and Raymond are what they are. They're going to pull the piano, for lack of a better term. They're going to be the guys. And then Kane, Casper, DeBrincat, probably the second best line on the team. That's why they're the second line. I love that third line, man. Top and Comfort are better than grinders. And then you have MBN, who is a grinder with a lot of skill. And I don't mean to say anything bad about him by saying he's a grinder. I just think he's not afraid to go in the corners, not afraid to get his nose dirty. He's a bigger guy. He uses it. So I'm excited for that. And then obviously the fourth line, I mean, those guys are trees. Appleton kind of gives me Christian Fischer vibes from last year, maybe a little bit bigger.
Ooh, I like that.
If you get anything from him offensively, great. If you don't, okay, fine. Kill some penalties and do all that. So I feel like
also 6'2", so that he's definitely adding to the overall height average of that group.
And Soderblom and Rasmussen are monsters.
Yeah.
So I like it. I mean, I agree with you though with Hamonic. I think JBD would be much better in that position. I think there's upside, and I'm sure that will flip flop as the season goes on. And if Hamonic looks like shit, then I'm assuming that they will make the change that they have to make.
So I think, like we talked about it, ASP's the things he brings to this lineup are his offense and his breakout. He's also great for power play too. Like that's one of the big ways you're going to use him. Cycles the puck well, has a good breakout pass, is able to walk the line beautifully. He'll walk around the net. He's what you would call stick handling in a phone booth the other day, where he just deked some guy out of his skates and was able to get the puck out. It was great. It was beautiful to see. MBN, like you said, he's a power forward. He's not afraid to go bowl some guy over, grab the puck, toss it in. Makes beautiful setup passes and is able to finish. Like Larkin was able to get the puck right to him. He's able to fire it in the net. He's got a bomb of a shot. And then Emmitt Finnie on that top line, that's hockey IQ, that's stick-to-itiveness, that is the ability, like I said before we started recording, 2 seconds, he'll be in front of the goalie's face. The next, he'll be in the corner digging out a puck. Third, he'll be passing it between his legs to set up a goal. Like, he does everything you need him to do. He's that great, like, utility guy on that first line that you ask him to do it and he does it, and he's got the motor to do it.
The IQ point, I think, is very important to mention, because you watch all three of those young guys right now, and more often than not, they're in the right spot at the right time. Like I mentioned, the MBN goal. You touched on the one that he had with the assist from Larkin. Finnie, the way that he's able to move around. But then you talk about ASP. He's not afraid to jump in on the play. He's not afraid to go get a puck to try to keep a play alive. And he's shown that really over and over again throughout this preseason that I deserve to be here. And the excitement in the comments they made shows that it's going to be fun. But Tyler, I think you're going to jump in there as well.
Yeah, I was just going to say ASP, man. I mean, if anything, this team is going to be a lot more fun to watch just with that guy on the ice. Man, that guy is going fast, dynamic. explosive, any good adjective that is fast and young and exciting. I mean, use it, because he is going to bring you out of your seat. A lot of watching him reminds me of especially offensively, of what Rasmus Dahlin was, as a young Swedish defenseman. So obviously we'll see what that materializes at the NHL level, but man, the potential is certainly there. I would say that he's the one I'm most excited about of the three. I think that there's a chance, and I don't know if I want to say it this year, but I could see if this team, is where we want it to be, and the power play, maybe struggles a little bit with Seider quarterbacking it. Could you see ASP quarterbacking it? I don't see why not.
They haven't struggled through this preseason already. I think they're going to be okay in that sense. Yeah. But I think to that point, if they want to change things up, we might see ASP moving on to that top pair, much like we've already seen toyed with. Yes, it was because some guys weren't on the roster, but you could see Seider and ASP potentially playing both on a power play unit.
I'd love to see it.
Yeah, and that's kind of, I think, where we'll put the bow on this part is if you look at the power play practice lines, this is where you see there is a lot of trust in these kids, and they are going to give them as much of an opportunity as they can to show that they can keep doing what they're doing. Your top power play unit is DeBrincat, Larkin, Raymond, Kane, and Seider at the point. We got Comfer, net front, Cop, Bumper, Brandsegg-Nygard, and Casper on the flanks, Sandin Pellikka at the point. So MBN is going to get power play time. Sandin Pellikka is going to get power play time. It's putting a lot of trust in these kids, but through every interview I've heard them talk, through every interview that I've heard McClellan and other teammates talk about them, they're ready for it. They're going to elevate this team. They're going to help. You're raising the ceiling. I don't think you are lowering the floor at all on what this team can accomplish this season, but you are absolutely raising the ceiling. And I think you can throw all Red Wings point projections out the window, because 3 rookies is a lot, and they have no book on these guys. They have nothing to put them against, no previous season to put them against. And I think the people that are saying, well, Red Wings are going to finish with 83 points, Red Wings are going to finish with 85 points, I think the ceiling is higher now that you have these guys on the team and that you're putting them in positions to succeed.
I agree.
It makes it very interesting. And one player that I would compare ASP to at the moment, in regards that we might see a little bit of up and down, but a lot of high potential, is Lane Hudson. Very similar style. I think he's better defensively. Sure. Hopefully. But offensively, Hudson is one of a kind. He is like another version of Quinn Hughes, and can just absolutely play offense like no other.
Erik Karlsson.
ASP, I think, could be a very similar comparison there. And that's something to be excited about for what he could potentially bring to this club.
Cool. I'll get your final thoughts, guys. Ryan, we'll start with you.
We are 3 days away, and I can't wait. Party Ryan 33.
I cannot wait either. I can't wait for tomorrow, honestly. I know the baseball playoffs are going on and all that, but there's just something about turning your TV on and seeing that white ice and seeing those guys in between the lines. It's just like we're back. We're the best time of year is now. Hockey's back, and I can't wait. You can follow me on Twitter at SealDog91.
You can follow me online at Bring the Wing, Grindline Podcast online at Grindline Pod. We'll give a shout out to the Hockey Podcast Network and thank them for hosting us and spreading us around. Vintage Detroit Collection, which is the only place you should get your Detroit jerseys from and work done, and where we have exclusive t-shirt collection like I mentioned earlier. If you go there, click the Keep It Local tab, click the Grindline Podcast, you will find our designs. And again, if you have not subbed to us on YouTube, we would love for you to do so. Turn on the notifications. You'll be notified whenever an episode goes live. The second episode this week is going to be kind of hard because we will be at the game on Thursday. So
do a walking live show.
Yeah, we'll see how that happens. So stay tuned. But that is going to do it for us tonight. So for Ryan and Tyler, I am Greg. You stay classy, Hockey Town.